You're listening to Cards to the Moon, a podcast about trading cards from both a collector and investor perspective. We hope you'll stick around for the ride as we take a deep dive into the state of the hobby, share some hot takes, hopefully some useful advice, and fun stories along the way. Hey guys, this is Clark from fivecardguys.com and fivecardguys on Instagram, and yes, on Instagram threads as well. This is a special episode of Cards to the Moon, as it won't be our regular show format with Hyung and John. But I think many of our podcast listeners will enjoy what we have in store for you today, especially if you like tuning in for our baseball card content, as we know many of you do. So if you missed this past Friday's episode, number 144, Chris Begg returned as a guest host, and we talked a bit about his podcast called the Oppotaco Podcast, which he hosts alongside Jason Willow. They talk all things baseball, and with both guys having come up in the minor league system and being drafted by MLB teams, they bring insightful analysis and a unique perspective to the game. Plus, they have some connections with current and former major leaguers who will be coming on as guests of the show. And the best part of us here at Five Card Guys helping produce this podcast is hearing their stories of what it's like to play professional baseball and all the challenges that come with it, including playing in front of scouts, staying motivated when there's only 15 people in the stands, battling through injuries, the road trips, and even playing abroad. Speaking of which, the episode we'll be playing for you here today from the Oppotaco Podcast that you can all subscribe to wherever you listen to your podcast. The guys invite their friend and former Toronto Blue Jays pitcher Scott Richmond on. And on that episode, he talks about his MLB debut, what it's like playing in Asia, and also playing with teammates he came up with that also made the big leagues. So if you're a baseball fan or you have a kid wanting to be a baseball player, this podcast is definitely worth a listen. We'll have the links to the podcast in our show notes below. One last thing before we play the episode. It is the MLB All-Star break as we record this intro. So I'm going to do a small giveaway for a 2023 Top Series 2 hanger box. I bought two of them and I opened one, got absolutely nothing. So hopefully you'll have a better chance of getting a hit. To enter, just DM us on Instagram at cardstothemoon, all one word, saying you heard about the contest on the pod and that you want to enter the contest. That's it. And if you could share our podcast with a friend that might enjoy our sports card podcast, that would be much appreciated too. We'll announce the winner on our podcast in a couple of weeks. All right, so without further ado, enjoy the special episode of the Oppotaco Podcast with Chris Begg and Jason Willow.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Oppotaco Podcast, episode number 4 tonight. We have a good one for you lined up, I do believe, as usual, joined by Jason Willow. Willow, that is going to be the last time I use your first name. I don't like using it.
Yeah, nobody.
How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. How you doing, Beggar?
I'm doing good, man. We got a late episode tonight. I was working with some pitchers this evening, so we're coming on late night on the East Coast anyway. This is probably perfect for the West Coast. Joined with us, we kind of gave a little teaser in the first episode about the third member of the Oppotaco team. We got Rene Tosoni finally with us. Tosoni, what is happening?
I'm busy. I'm a busy guy. I apologize. We did try for me to get on earlier, but it didn't work out. I accidentally broke my charger for my computer, so I'm glad to get out here, and I've been looking forward to this. So I'm good. How are you guys?
We are fantastic, and we've missed you. I was going to say the good-looking guy is Tosoni, but I mean, nobody would know which one it is for people who are watching our clips on the video anyway. But for those who don't know, Tosoni is now a firefighter, so we'll be looking for that calendar to come out in the new year. I think you're on the cover, but beside you, we got Scott Richmond, Jays fans. You might remember Richie from episodes from the 2009 roster, 2008 roster. Made your opening or debut. We won't go too much into that, but Richie, thanks for joining us, man. We're pretty excited to talk to you today.
My pleasure, guys. It's good to be here, and I always love talking ball and getting on here with Rene, spending some time in Vancouver, just getting out of the Arizona heat. So excited to be up here talking ball, especially the Canadians. It's where my heart's at, so let's get started.
What took you up there anyway?
Kids get out of school, and it's super hot down there, so we got a lot of family up here. We don't get to see them all the time, so we're coming up, and you know, when you play ball a long time, you don't get to go to the lakes and do, you know, the barbecues out at the parks because we're playing all summer. So really trying to soak that up, spend the time with the family doing things like that, and, you know, barbecues in the backyard. You guys know how it is. When you have an off day, you kind of shoot one here and there during the season, but, you know, it's just something that it's summer. And when it's 80 degrees, 75 degrees up here, there's no better place in the world.
Celsius.
Celsius, yeah, sorry, Celsius. Yeah, so what are we talking, 20, 21, 25?
Yeah, that range. There we go.
You've been Americanized.
Oh, yeah.
Americanized.
It's all good.
It's all good. All right, let's go into our first segment here. As usual, start with our quick hits. All right, Willow, you want to start us up with something?
Yeah, I will start us off with Big Joe Adele with a StatCast longest home run ever of 514 feet. He did do it in Salt Lake, which, you know, a little bit of an asterisk there, but good for him. I think it was his 21st pump of the year, and actually just saw on Twitter like an hour ago that he's got called up, so good for him.
Did he? I did not see that,
yeah.
But I know he was a big prospect a couple
Huge
of years ago and never
yeah.
really kind of panned out immediately. So talent's there, and he's a big boy, and he can crush baseball. So that's a good one. You got another one?
Yep, hot off the press. LSU Tigers, College World Series champions. I think big blowout tonight. Another brutal. Thought it was going to be a good game. Last night was brutal too. Another blowout, but good for them. I think they deserve it. Good group of Tigers down there.
Who threw tonight?
They kind of threw everyone. Paul Skeens did get an inning in, though.
Yeah, I saw something on social media about, you know, a shitty pitch on 3 days rest or something like that. Like we said in previous pod, you're the college guy, but I did read that one. He's always exciting, and keep him healthy for the draft.
Yeah, I think now projected first overall.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Twist of fate. Let's go to the other West Coasters, Tosoni, Richie. You guys got any quick hits for us?
I'm going to go Joey Votto. He's healthy. He's back in the lineup. He's exciting to watch. I think he's got 6 games since he's been back, and 5 hits, 3 home runs. Not bad. It's good to see fellow Canadian healthy back on the field and swinging a hot bat.
Yeah, I think he hit a bomb in his first game back, and then maybe it was the next game or 2 games later had a multi-home run game. Like, the guy still does it.
Yep.
Yeah. He's I like Joey Votto. He's a different person, but he is a team guy for sure. And with the Reds doing what they're doing this year, he's a great addition back in the lineup.
And he's waited it out a long time, you know. He sat there with a bunch of years with the Reds not doing much. Missed all his whole prime, and now they got this young up-and-coming talent, and he's still able to contribute. He's batting in the 6th hole, he said. I heard him talk about the other day, going, I am super happy batting in the 6th hole because I want to see these guys in front of me. Just trying to contribute where I can, you know, that typical speech, just keep my head down, work hard. But, you know, he's having fun in Cincinnati, and they're all filling that stadium again, so I'm sure it's really exciting.
It almost feels like he's the new guy in the clubhouse or something, like, you know, being injured and being away from the team. Then new guys come in, you know, especially a guy like Ellie De La Cruz.
Well, and how young they are, right?
Yeah. It's a definitely, I'd love to be a fly on the wall in there and kind of see that dynamic now. But, you know, Joey, I think, especially later in his career, he's learned to really just enjoy the environment, enjoy where he is in life. You know, he's had an unbelievable career, I think Hall of Famer. But now he's been able to kind of watch the next generation come up. And speaking of which, the game where he hit his 2 home runs, Ellie De La Cruz also hits for the cycle. He gets overshadowed by the young guy hitting for the cycle. That guy is unbelievable. He's exciting, eh, Willow?
Yeah, again, I missed the target last week. I really thought he was
Yeah,
just an
you did.
average player, and I've been doing that all year. But I'm just throwing things out there, hoping it sticks. Again, his numbers weren't good as of last week. As of right now,
And then he went on a tear. He said
know.
like whatever 330.
Well, I hope
1,000
Ellie's
OPS.
listening to the Oppotaco podcast. Maybe I got him fired up or something. But
There we go. But watching him hit his triple of that cycle, I think he ran 10.83 seconds for a triple, which is the fastest, tied for the fastest this year. With anybody want to guess who?
himself.
So it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
10.83 seconds for the fastest triple of the year, tied with himself. So, yeah, the Reds are great.
Fun fact for you here: Ellie De La Cruz has a fraternal twin brother who's 5'8".
Really.
He took all his genes.
Took all his genes and took it right to the show.
If he takes all his genes, they're going to be short on him.
Yep.
Yeah, no shit. I mean,
There
sorry.
you go, Beggar.
And then I guess speaking of brothers, I'm going to give you my quick hit. We're going to stick with
Yep.
the Canadians, and we're going to
Yep.
go with Bo Naylor in the dugouts for the Guardians, getting his first big league knock. I know he had a cup of coffee last year, but to get that one at home with his brother in the dugout, I'm sure that felt really good. And it's fun to see Canadians up there doing well. It's, Edward Julian and all that, and all the boys. But it's nice to see Bo Naylor, family affair. Just really happy for that family.
Yeah, and just watching Josh in the dugout, the videos, and then they did the post-game interview as well. And, I mean, they are a tight-knit family. We know the third member coming up, Miles, as well. They are really close. Those brothers are really close. So that's what an unbelievable experience to be able to do that with your brother on the same team in the same dugout, right?
Totally.
Yep. Yeah, Miles first rounder. I'm putting that out there right now. Good
is that
showing
it?
at the draft combine. Yep. So
Yeah.
I kept looking for
I got him.
didn't see any results, but I was wondering.
the Guardians got to do it. They got to.
I feel like they have to do it. They have to
Yeah,
do it.
They have to.
Is there 3 brothers that's been drafted by the same team?
No,
There's got to be.
I doubt it. I don't think
no
so.
shot.
How many brothers? 3 brothers, playing in the big leagues. Yeah. So that's, I mean, they might be, if he can go first round, I think that is the first trio of brothers that would be drafted in the first round. There's been duos and pairs, but I don't think there's ever been 3. Willow, you got any other ones?
Yeah, I got J-Rod in the home run derby, announced as the first guy there, so that's pretty sweet. I think last year he had some 81 home runs in the home run derby, losing to Soto in the finals, but even though he's the first guy to get announced, I still got him. I got him winning the home run derby, being at home, being used to MVP, and
even not knowing who his competition is.
doesn't matter.
No, if
81
Ronald
last
Above
year.
all else, huh?
Ronald Acuna gets in there. I got Ronald Acuna. I love Ronald.
Yeah,
I think
we'll
he's
see.
gonna do it. I hope he goes in there.
Well, that's what I was going to ask too. Who's one guy that you guys want to see in there?
That's my guy. My guy's Ronald.
Well, it was always fun playing in Seattle. So if Vladdy can get in there, it'd be a nice big Canadian contingency cheering for him out there. So
That would
This
be
is
sweet.
true.
That would be sweet.
A guy I'd like to see, Willow, is the guy you threw out last week.
Yeah.
As you'd love to see it. Watching Ellie. Ellie's hitting 120 mile an hour shots. I'd love to see that guy just tee off.
Yeah.
Right, so that'd be a fun one.
What is he? Does he average the best exit velo right now? Because I feel like every time I see him on TV, it's 110 to 120. Like the guy just hits rockets all over the field.
Yeah, I don't know what the average is for him, but I know he's definitely some consistently high numbers where it's just off the charts, right?
Yeah.
So talented. How about this one, guys? Wander got benched for a couple games. That one was really interesting to me. Word is just kind of attitude needs to, I don't know. It's like a young guy who's, I don't know, maybe being a showman, kind of pouting maybe. I'm not exactly sure. But he got benched for 2 games. What do you think of that? Okay, good talk, guys. Appreciate that.
No,
I'm just trying to digest it. Yeah, it was dugout, right? Wasn't it dugout or clubhouse or something? Just kind of behind. It wasn't really on field, was it? It was just more like, hey, your attitude needs to change. This is a team sport, and figure it out. And 2 games is serious though. 1 game's like you don't hustle down the line; they pull you in the game. 2 games is like we're sending a real message where everybody's noticing this is your behavior that the veterans are not tolerating.
That's what I was going to say. And I've never been in a big league clubhouse, but like a 2-gamer, like first thing I thought with 2 games was there's like something happened, but they just don't want to, put it out there. But yeah, just like, Richie said, 1 and 2 games, a big difference, I think, for benching guys.
What they said is kind of what I heard, and I tend to believe it, is that it wasn't just one thing that happened. It's kind of a series of things, and it may be an overall trend in his behavior and attitude, where they felt that, and I did hear somebody else say it, and I do agree with this as well, is that, it's something that could have been squashed behind the scenes if they wanted to, because it wasn't one like incident on the field where it's, in the public eye. But they made a point of making it public, right? So I don't know if that was, I don't want to say to embarrass the guy or anything like that, but let it be known, like, you can't do this. We are going to go, like, people are going to notice that you're sitting. It's going to be announced that you're benched, and kind of clean up your act. So maybe it's a good thing with a young guy, squash it early in his career. Maybe learn something from. I mean, he came back and hit a bomb, and I think his first at bat, like, the guy is unbelievable. But it's, and I don't know if you remember that play earlier in the year where like he fielded the ball at short and kind of flipped it up to his bare hand and kind of hot dogged it over to first base. I never liked that play, but maybe it's like a series of those things that, people are just kind of, he's getting a little bit almost too big for his shoes a little bit, and they just kind of had to squash it, but we'll see.
2 games is pretty serious if it's just him being a little flashy. There's got to be something else going on.
And you wonder if they would do that two game suspension if the Rays weren't up by 83 games on everybody else in the league, right? So if it was a little closer.
Totally, and there's a bit of a problem too. It's like there's a lot of pros of being up by that, but when you're young and you're up by a lot and making winning easy, some people might carry it like, yeah, no problem. Like, we got hey, like, calm down. This is the big leagues. A lot of things can happen real quick here. Keep a level head and keep moving forward and quit. You never know what's going on. They're all young and dominant and all these things that are happening. Cash has been around, so he's just got to kind of, get control of that clubhouse and send a message. Hey, boys, we're in a tough division, the toughest, and keep your, head down and keep working hard. So maybe that just wakes him up.
Yeah. Like we've all been on teams, whether it's college or pro ball or anywhere, where we've been the young guy on the team. And for the most part, you kind of keep your mouth shut and let your performance play, right? And then, fast forward, we've all been the older guys on team, whether it's college again and you're the senior, or older guys in pro ball. And you see young guys come in, and you see guys who, carry themselves the way that they should. And you see other guys who do not. And those guys kind of stand out, and they kind of, not in maybe the most promising way, right? And they kind of, they better perform, because if they don't, they're gonna let people are gonna let them know, especially those older vets. I got one here, quick hit. We got Aaron Judge with a torn toe ligament. That's not good news for the Yankees. They're kind of middle of the pack in the AL East, right?
Well, is anyone middle of the pack?
Well, they're all
they're all above the AL Central pack.
Yeah, brutal. See how long that goes on for.
But I'm kind of disappointed, because it probably means, he's going to be out for the All-Star game, and I think everybody wants to see Judge in the All-Star game, right? Best of the best. Yeah, it seems like he's going to be out a while, and they're not really giving any timeline on that. So that's one. Willow, you got anything else?
No, I think I'm good.
What we got here? A couple, I'll go real quick ones. Jordan Walker's on a 15-game hit streak. Not bad for the guy who got sent down, back up. Angels routed the Rockies 25-1 the other day. I think it was 23-1 after like 4th inning or something like that. It was just ridiculous.
One of my college teammates was throwing for the Rockies, and he just took a beating. they made him sit right on the sword, man. I was watching it for a bit. It was tough watching.
Wasn't there a stat with that series too? Didn't they outscore the Rockies by a whole bunch and lose the series?
Yeah, it was like 26-4 or something, and still lost the series. It was something along those lines. I saw that today.
So yeah, they're trying to say like, hey, we can hit. We need some pitching over here, and they're picking up Mike Moustakas and these other. It's like you need to start picking up some arms now. I mean, Syndergaard ain't it,
No.
No. Thor is not the Thor of, 10 years ago or whatever.
Usually when big velo guys come down from velo, if they're not locating that velo, it's not getting any better when it's 90, 92. Like,
hey, that's why I chose never to get there, Richie. That's why I chose never to get the velo, you know?
Under the hitting speed.
Exactly. I'm just trying to hit a gnat's ass the whole time, and if velo comes, great. If it doesn't, then we're still good.
There we go.
Yeah.
Hopefully the wind's blowing hard from my back.
Yeah.
Last quick hit that I've got, Freddie Freeman got his 2000th hit. Like, what an unbelievable career. You guys have played with him, I believe.
Yeah.
Correct or
Yeah.
incorrect?
Yeah.
You guys want to share your feelings on what that might mean for him?
Oh, I mean, 2000,
What type of guy is he?
How old is he?
You guys know him personally.
Was he 35?
I don't think he's quite that old.
Man, like
We need a
2,000
research
hits, yeah. No, he was great. I played with him in the WBC in 2017.
33.
And 2015. He's great, man. I just watching him prepare for a game. It's like, man, he can hit. He's a good first baseman, but he can just hit. He has a unique swing. His BP doesn't hit anything.
pull side.
Yeah, pull side ever. Like he does. His whole BP is over shortstop, left center. But come game time, it's like he just whatever. Like I don't know.
No, yeah,
he just snap hook stuff like down the line. He hits stuff in the gap, but like his whole preparation is like left center, left center, left center, and he's so handsy. It's fun to watch. Like I like going in the outfield. I like kind of positioning myself to play defense against certain guys the way they hit, but it's like the way he prepares is not the way I would play defense against him at all. He's totally different, but no, he's fun to watch. He's a good guy. A good team guy. Like he wanted to represent Canada when during the WBC. He embraces our kind of traditions that we have in the locker room and stuff like that. And he's good to have around. Big leader for sure.
Yeah, came here with a great attitude, super open. Hey guys, of course, nice to meet you. We'd all played with each other, and he's Freddie Freeman. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, man. Mm-hmm. Canada pumps out first baseman like crazy, so we need another one. You play short, how's your shortstop? But overall, he was fantastic, just smiling all the time. He's representing his mom, right? So the story behind that, he's probably just super proud to be out there wearing it. And now he knows how we feel when we go up against the DR and USA every single time. It's like back against the wall, but, he had a great attitude the whole time. And it was tough to see him get injured in the last one a little bit. They pulled him and, kind of just made sure he kept his season going. But overall, super happy for him. We're claiming him as a Canadian, so he's ours.
For sure.
Well, it sounds like he's pretty proud to be one, so I'm with you there. Okay, let's move on to our main event. We really wanted to think about international opportunities. In episode 1, Willow and I talked about the draft and our kind of draft stories. And for me, it was a non-draft story, with the free agent signing. And then episode 2, we talked about how we kind of chose our colleges that we went to and, what kids should be looking for there. And now I kind of was thinking about how we could think about how guys who don't get drafted, they're done school, they still want to play. And there's opportunities internationally for players to do that where it's not, affiliated ball. It's not necessarily like independent ball as we know kind of in the States necessarily or Canada. But there are other opportunities out there. And there isn't a better guy that I know of than Mr. Scott Richmond, who's a world traveler. His passport is full and can probably tell some unique stories. So I want to go through your career with you, Richie, and kind of figure out where it all started from college. You went to the Edmonton Cracker Cats, onto the Jays. Talk about that kind of beginning of your career for us.
Yeah, it happened quickly. After going to Oklahoma State, climbing through the ranks to a few smaller schools, just kept trying to get to a D1. I didn't know. I just, Canadian, older, trying to get to the States. Boom, got there. I was in NAI. Coach went to a JUCO. Then Oklahoma State called from the JUCO because I'm keep trying to make moves to get to where I want to be, or at least try to figure out where I plateau, right? So once I got to Oklahoma State, I wasn't getting pummeled. I was pitching on the weekend, and I'm like, all right, I can hang here. So, what's next kind of thing. And I started talking to scouts about getting drafted. 9/11 happened a few years earlier. Wasn't able to get a visa being Canadian, so I went back my senior year. He graduated, blessing in disguise, after playing until I was 40, so that was great. I was able to graduate at a normal time. And then from there, Edmonton Cracker Cats called, and to be totally honest, I had no idea what indie ball was. I just knew I didn't need a visa to play in Canada because I'm Canadian. I just knew I couldn't play in America being professional because I couldn't get a visa. So went to Edmonton, and fortunate enough there, tons of ex-Team Canada guys, a couple ex-big leaguers, a lot of AAA experience, some college guys that had never had the opportunity to play pro ball, and this was their big pro ball thing, so it was a melting pot, but it was a blessing in disguise because I came in at 24 and was mature-ish, and was a sponge with these older guys, and kind of really soaked up what they were telling me and going, hey, keep your head down, focus on this, do this. I've seen AAA ball, I know what you have, keep working at this. But when I first went in there, I was a reliever and a starter because I already played at Oklahoma State. My second year, they wanted me as a reliever, setup guy, closer. I didn't throw hard. I was no, unicorn that threw 97 that nobody just found. I was low 90s, high 80s, locating 4 pitches, pitching. And I'm in indie ball my second year, relieving, doing fine. But I'm like, if I'm ever going to get out of here, I got to start. I do not throw hard enough. And back then, you didn't need 100. You just needed 94, 95, and you could get out of indie ball. I mean...
Or 84, 85. Right?
Well, true, but I'm not trying to be a unicorn like you, too. I'm trying, I just figured that if I was to get out, I needed to eat up more innings, be more valuable for a team. So I said, if I'm coming back for my third year at indie ball at 26 years old, I need to start. Come back and start.
That's interesting.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, because my indie ball story is similar. Started out in the bullpen being a new guy, and then, happenstance, I can't remember if there was an injury. I moved into the rotation, and then from there, did well and got picked up, right? So the whole bullpen starter thing, except I feel like you were a little bit more aware of what you needed to do, and I just kind of fell into that role.
Hey, however you do it, but for anybody listening and the kids out there, if you're in indie ball and you want to kind of go, push them to start. You got to be a starter. You got to eat more innings, create some more value than just being a shutdown reliever. It's so difficult. You get pummeled as a reliever one time, it takes you a month and a half to knock that back down. You need more innings to help correct your ERAs. So I found that out, and it was given some good advice by some of these veteran players, Stubby Claps, Jeremy Wares, Red Manoviches, things like that. But overall, went back my third year there and went to the All-Star game, was the opening day starter at the All-Star game. And then from there, a bunch of these Team Canada guys, I'm thinking 3 years, never going to play affiliated ball. I just want to play for my country like the rest of half my teammates here. So, I kept hammering Greg Hamilton, hey, give me a shot. What can I do? Is there any kind of tryout? Or, I'm not able to get drafted here, but I'd love to come represent my country. And then the guys kept contacting the Jays too and said, hey, we got a guy here that you should come check him out. And I remember it. They came to Winnipeg, and I didn't do that well. I remember I was nervous, right? I'd never had a shot here, and now I got some guy coming to watch me that I feel like this is all or nothing. And I was nervous, like a lot of people do, and they kind of, disappoint. And from there, it didn't change their minds, because one good thing that I always try to tell people, good or bad, how you handle the bad, especially in baseball, is super important. And it's almost more valuable than how easy it is to show me how well you pitch, because these people are coming to see you because they know you can pitch. They know, they've heard through the grapevine. That's why they got on a plane and came to watch you. They might have even seen a little bit of video of you. But if you go out there, they probably see a lot of nervous people. And if you're getting pummeled, how is this kid handling this? Is he out there kicking the dirt and spiking it and showing up his teammates if they make an error because it looks bad for his opportunity that's in the stands watching? Or does he hold his head up high and still keep trying to grind? That stuff right there builds way more character and can project you to get picked up by that team just on that alone. So I tried to really focus on that, and it worked out. They invited me down to Dunedin. Went to a private workout. There was 10 hitters, 10 pitchers, and me. They had all the hitters face all the pitchers, and like I said, I was the old guy all the time. They picked the 3 best hitters out of there and had me face them because they knew I wasn't going to low A at 26 years old. So like you, Begg, you went to high A. So I went there, and first 3 batters, strikeout, broken bat back to me, strikeout again. Call me in the office, tell me your story, kind of a little bit what I'm telling you here, and they go, hey, we want to give you a spring training invite. Give me a spring training invite. I'm like glowing, smiling from ear to ear, and I'm like, I did it. Like, I'm not even on a team, but I got invited.
Yeah.
Next morning, Greg Hamilton calls Baseball Canada, hey, you want to come to Olympic qualifier with us in wherever it was, Taiwan? We got a pre-thing in Australia. I'm like, we're going to Australia and Taiwan. This is great. Best 24 hours of my baseball career. Here we go, right? And then right before we went away for the Baseball Canada, Blue Jays called and said, hey, we don't want to give you an invite. We want to sign you to a AA, AAA contract. And then at this time, I'm so naive to the whole fact of everything, right? I'm in indie ball. They wanted to lock me down because I went to Asia. An Asian team would have maybe picked me up because I was unsigned.
Right.
So that was pretty exciting.
So fast forward then, you're with the Jays. Did you pitch in the 07 qualifier?
So I pitched in the qualifier in 07. I was on the Olympic team. And when
that's where I was going with it. That's
okay.
where I was going with it.
Yep.
08, you get a call. You're going to go to the Olympics. Have maybe the best teammate you've ever had in Chris Begg. And you end up not going. But there was a pretty good reason for that. Yeah,
so before all that, I started the season in AA, and it was the opening day starter in AA with the Jays. Coming from indie ball, non-signed, opening day starter. Ricky Romero's on my team. Still really great friends to this day. He'd been stuck there for 2 years, and looking back, I always mess them. It's like, you were stuck there. They sent the old guy in to start in front of you to get fire lit underneath you to go, damn it, this guy's taking my job. And I started opening day. I went up to AAA by the All-Star break. And then after 5 starts in AAA, I was supposed to go to Toronto anyway to be introduced before the Blue Jays game. Like, hey, this is your Canadian, with yourself. This is your Canadian Olympic team. Wish them all the best in the upcoming Olympics, and wave to the crowd and watch the game from the stands. And then that day, that week, the Blue Jays called me up and said, hey, you're not starting here in Indianapolis. You're going to start in Toronto on Wednesday against the Rays, who went to the World Series that year. And I end up starting the game that Team Canada was going to get introduced at. So all Baseball Canada Olympic team got to see my Major League debut.
Yes, we did. And we weren't in the stands. We were in a suite, Mr. Richmond.
Yep.
We had the presidential suite up there. We had the free food.
Yep.
We had the free.
But I actually remember that.
That's
that
all Begg remembers.
I just crushed the buffet. But pitchers are spread killers. I remember we were all proud. I didn't even know you at this point, but we were all proud that, a guy who was going to be standing with us up in that suite, crushing buffet with us, he's now on the mound pitching in his big league debut. And you threw really well that game. I think you ended up did you end up taking a loss, but you threw really well.
Correct. So I went 5 1/3, I think 6 hits, 3 runs, 5 strikeouts, and no walks, which I was proud of. And we lost 3-2. So I kept my team in it. Didn't quite get a quality start, but I mean, back then you kind of just give them 5 and get to the bullpen. I probably had 100 pitches, let's be honest, but I didn't walk anybody and competed and gave myself a chance during that 08 season. I had a few starts, and they said they gave me an extended look. They weren't just going to call me up for a cup of coffee and send me down and take me out of the Olympics, because that was the tough part. And now I'm in a clubhouse where they don't interview you in independent ball, right? So now you got all these cameras in front of you, 4 or 5 cameras in front of you, 12 microphones all talking to you. Like, are you upset at the Jays for not taking you to the Olympics? They're taking you off the Olympic team? I'm like, if I was a shot putter, the Olympics are my pinnacle. But I'm a baseball player, and this is a major league team, and not just any major league team, the one I grew up rooting for and watching. So, I am happier than hell. If it could have happened both ways, you're not going to hear a complaint from me, but this is my journey, and I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, I think we actually mentioned that it was kind of a win-win situation for you, right? It's like one or the other. I think, in 04, it was the same situation with Tosoni, your good friend there, Justin Morneau, right? It was either going to be Olympics or big leagues, and best of both worlds, right? And for both of you, you end up getting to the big leagues. 09, you start out on the opening day roster.
Correct.
fast forward through a couple years there, you had some tough times, but you had some success as well. Talk about the next few years there.
Yeah, so 2009, obviously I was a bubble guy in spring training going, hey, you had pretty good outing. I think I ended the last season in 2008. I think it was like 5 starts. I had a 4 ERA, 2 walks, and 25 strikeouts in about 27 innings. So I could show I could get some strikeouts when I needed it. I wasn't walking anybody. I had a 4, got my first major league win at the end of the season. So me and Ricky were on Ricky made the 4 hole and I made the 5 hole as the starting rotation. But what really solidified my year that year was I came out of the gates and won April Rookie of the Month in the American League. So that really kind of solidified. I think I went 4-0 in April. And there you go. Yep, we made a good decision on that 5th starter, So that kind of just, helped me. If I came out struggling, it's a little easier to kind of have that little rotating wheel from the bottom of the rotation, AAA, just keep kind of cycling, see who can catch.
Yeah.
But it was nice to get that out of the gates. And, we had Doc as the ace. So anytime there's a rain out, an off day, anything, he's going every 5 days. So that means this guy's getting skipped and going to the bullpen, right? So when you're in AAA and your arm's getting groomed to be a big leaguer and you're not missing a start and you're getting taken care of, and then all of a sudden you get up there and now you're not in the worst spot because you're in the rotation, but now you're the 5th guy with a horse as an ace. Mm-hmm. You are now your arm's doing this, and they expect perfection every time, and it's difficult when you're not used to doing that. So there's you guys know, you play ball. It's behind the scenes stuff that everybody doesn't quite know, and they're like, why is this rookie not doing well? It's a little different, and I know I should be making better adjustments, but this is the best league in the world. I'm trying to make adjustments on the fly from not pitching for 2 weeks, or things like that. So it was challenging, and every inning up there is so much more stressful than an inning in AAA in Syracuse, where, there's 12 fans in the stands and it's drizzling rain. But yeah, man, it was a lot of fun. It was work. It wasn't necessarily fun. It was work. Everything was very, very business driven, and I didn't know it because I was so new to the whole thing. But yeah, it was great.
When you had to bounce back, bounce from the rotation to the bullpen during that time, did you find that your experience in indie ball when we started out, where you were thrown out of the bullpen in relief, were you able to use that to help you in your preparation at all?
It was nice that I had done it before, 100%, and semi-recently, a couple of years. Because even in Oklahoma State, I was kind of relieve on Friday, start on Sunday, or vice versa. So I always kind of had that in the back burner, but I wanted to be a starter. I had better stuff. I had 4 pitches. I could have longevity. I threw strikes. They do like that out of the pen, but they want a little bit more 2 pitches nasty. So it was fine. I also don't like it when the phone rings and goes, get it going, Richmond. I like to know 5 days in advance when I got to get it going so I can prep myself. But, that's just me.
That's pretty nice. I know, a little bit different, not in the big leagues, but, when I went from indie ball and I was relieving and then I started and then I went to the Giants and I was a starter. The 2004 Olympics, when I went there, I wasn't sure what my role was. And from what I understand, there was a starting spot and it was either going to be myself or Paul Spaljaric. Well, Spally was the old guy at the time, and I was the younger guy, and I bounced back a lot quicker than he did. He needed those days in between. So ultimately I went to the bullpen, and it was one of those things where it's I don't even care what role I have.
Totally.
I just want to pitch. I just want to help. I just want to win, especially when it's Canada across your chest, right? And for you, Canada and the Blue Jays, same thing. It's your home team. And it was I actually loved throwing out of the bullpen for the Olympics because I got in 5 of the 9 games and, lots of work and everything like that. But I found that I was able to do it because I had done it, like you said, pretty recently, and it didn't really bother me, right? Ultimately, I still did prefer starting, but I was able to kind of go back on those experiences as a reliever. Let's fast forward.
Whoa! On that 2009 season, I got something. And again, the way the podcast works.
Quiet for a bit.
Is it me or is it Begg talking? Is it Begg talking or is it me?
Just keep in flow here. Chime in. I want to hear stuff.
No. We split the podcast, me and Begg, pretty much, and he talks about pitching, I talk about hitting, and so I did a little research on you and Dave Scott, and that 2009 season, I'll quiz you on it first, but there's one big question. How many at bats do you think you had that year?
7 or 6?
7 too many?
I had 6 at bats, 5 punch outs, and a ground ball to second.
Who was the pitcher off of?
That I got the ground ball
that you made
off of?
contact, yeah.
Jair Jurgens.
Yep. Well done. Wow.
And I played against him in Taiwan, and he remembers me, and I remember him, and he plays for Netherlands, and we played against each other a couple times in our careers, so we've kind of followed along. And I told him, you're my first at bat in like 15 years, because when I played, I didn't play high school ball. I wasn't like, oh, you're a stud pitcher on the weekend, you're going to play short. That wasn't me at all. I was like, oh, you're tall and you can't hit, you're a pitcher, and you're not playing any other positions or pitching. So I never had any at bats. So
did they? And I know this is kind of a thing that Begg, but like, were they telling you stuff going to the plate like don't swing, or was it just like go for it?
Well, so there's a funny story with this too. So okay, so pitchers get a little bit of BP before we go. So there's a series before that where now we have to take a couple hacks, and we're in Boston. So it's a nice big Fenway Park there, and this little green monster looks pretty close. If I can just pop this thing up in the air. So the problem is I'm all excited. I got this bat ordered with my name on it. I'm like, whew, we made it. Here we go. So I get up there, bunt to the third base, bunt to first base for like 3 rounds. I'm just like, I get it. We're going to have to bunt. But what if nobody's on? I'm going to embarrass myself. I haven't swung a bat in forever. And the cage ain't going to cut it. So he lets me swing a few times. I mean, I got one out, but I mean.
There you go.
I swear to God I did. But I mean. If it had a wrinkle in it at all, there's 0 chance of hitting it. And
were you just sitting here the whole time? Every time you went up, or what?
100%. And I mean, Jair Jurgens, I remember the first pitch vividly. I'm 6'5", and I'm probably standing 3 feet off the plate because I don't quite know where to stand. And down and away looked like 5 feet over there and like 4 inches off the ground. And the guy's like, hoo-ha, strike. I'm like, well, there's 0 chance I'm hitting that pitch. But the biggest funny thing about batting was I made a spot start. My best start in the big leagues was in Philadelphia, and I made a spot start on Sunday Night Baseball for Roy Halladay, who missed it, and we were facing Jamie Moyer. And I go, if I'm ever going to get a hit in the big leagues, it's going to be off Jamie Moyer. And Scott Downs, the night before, broke his big toe running out of the box in extra innings, and I was told that day, you're not allowed to swing the bat. We can't have another pitcher go down. I punched out 11 Phillies that night and got the win 8-1. I punched out 3 times myself, so I got 14 punch outs that game. And I had to take 3 at-bats versus Jamie Moyer. And I was traumatized because my stats could have been a little bit better that you found there, Willow.
Yeah, you mean one hit in there, it changes everything, right?
I mean, the ball would have been in my man cave right now, I'll tell you that.
There you go. Off Moyer, too? That would have been pretty sweet.
Well, I think Moyer's probably still pitching somewhere if you want to get in a bat against him.
Yeah, him and Bartolo are back-to-back 1-2 on
I want to fast forward a little bit to 2013, because this is where your career, for me, kind of really gets interesting. Lots of guys, I shouldn't say lots of guys, not lots of guys playing the big leagues, but that's kind of the standard for a baseball player. But in 2013... you didn't play in the States or Canada. You went to Korea.
Yep, well, I signed in Korea and went over there to Saipan, which is in Guam area, South Pacific, and that's where their spring training was. And unfortunately, they did a PFP, and it was a pretty grinder field. We're in Saipan, not known for, lush fields. A little bit of moisture in the ground, and kind of tore my meniscus in my left knee. First day of spring training. First day. And the issue there, had a guaranteed contract. And I didn't hurt myself dancing in a nightclub. I hurt myself on the field in front of all the media that's filming the new import guy. And they didn't honor the contract. Had taken me to court. Took me 5 years to get half. And anything I made in between that, they took away from the contract. It is super weird Korean law. Anyway, thanks for bringing that up, Begg. Tough situation, but, thanks for reliving that. No.
It's just the passport stamp that I want to know about.
Yeah, that's on there.
And you
Yeah.
You missed the WBC that year because of that.
Yeah,
Right?
I missed. So that was the one where Canada brawled Mexico. I was in the stands though with my young
15 then.
twins. That was in that was in 12 or they had 17, so it's every 4 years.
13 and 17.
So it's
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
13, right? It's every
you're right.
4 years. So, so I watched the boys brawl Mexico in the stands, and it wasn't much safer in the stands behind the Canadian dugout, I'll tell you that. So, it's the only WBC I missed besides the first one. But yeah, it was an experience, man. Like, it's everybody. You guys all play it. It's ups and downs. It's ups and downs. Yeah, it's just
Well, I
my
feel
road.
like touchy subject for the WBC brawl too, for other reasons, Tosoni?
Yeah.
Hey, oh.
I'm a big tough guy.
Yeah. My one at bat, you guys throwing at me. Great.
Yeah, one at
You
bat.
did
I
good,
saw
though.
you spit on the ground and wipe it with your shoe. I saw that.
I did, yeah, for sure. I was aggressive. I was like, "You don't throw at me, bud." We bunt when we're up 9 runs or whatever it was, 7 runs. Tommy,
Definitely a story that we'll get to.
Yeah, we're leaving that for Tosoni's episode.
100%. That's a great story.
Yeah,
We're still working on third baseman, getting him on the pod too. So the Mexican third baseman.
yeah. He'll
So
be
how
in.
long did? Yeah, oh yeah.
There you go.
We've got contact.
Yeah.
How long did that injury put you out there, Richie?
So I was walking the next day. It's a 4 to 6 week injury. I was throwing bullpens after.
So
4
you're
weeks.
complaining about an overnight injury here. You're like, thanks for bringing it up. I was walking the next day.
Well,
though.
tell that to the Lotte Giants. You know what I
they
mean? Give
released
that to
him the
them.
next
You know,
day.
I don't know, but if you know spring training, it's 2.5 months in Asia. So I would have been back with a month and a half left in spring training, and they still decided to go. You know what? We're good. Not an arm injury. I mean, a meniscus that I was walking out of the surgery the next day. So,
Those first couple PFPs weren't too good then, huh?
I mean, I didn't do PFPs for a while after that. But, I mean,
He never was good at them.
I am good at them for
Are you?
100%. Oh, yeah. Gobbling them all up.
That's where you're pitcher.
100%.
So where did your road take you then once you came back from that injury?
Yeah, so I kept throwing, and a good friend of mine, Nate Robertson, played for the Tigers for a bunch of years. He was playing with Texas, and Texas had a couple guys, Colin Ballister, a few other guys that went down with Tommy John, and they kind of scrambling for starters. And I was in Phoenix throwing bullpens at a, Fisher Sports, it's called. It's kind of like a baseball workout center anyway, kind of thing. Throwing bullpens, getting some innings in, and they brought me over. They were going to bring me to the surprise Texas Rangers compound to build up. I go up there. I was there for like 2 days. I think I threw one outing of 2 innings, and they brought me right to Round Rock. So I went right to AAA, and now I'm in Round Rock building up 2 innings, 3 innings, 4 innings, 5 innings. I stayed there for 2 years, but I had to build up from 2 innings in games, and it was great. Round Rock's a great city. They got really great fans. The travel's pretty crazy over there, but it was fun, man.
Yeah.
It was good. It was cool to be a different
PCL
organization.
travel is tough.
Yeah, it is, and it was fun to be in a different organization. Coming from playing in Vegas, which was the Blue Jays AAA at the time, everywhere in the country flies into Vegas, so travel's pretty good with Vegas. Round Rock's a little different
It was
ballgame.
not the best in Fresno. It was not the best.
Oh,
We're catching
man.
the 5 a.m. flights everywhere.
I bet.
So you were with the Rangers for 2 years. In 2015, where does your journey take you?
So 2015, and then here's the thing. I started getting what's it called? No, what's it called? Phantom DL. Phantom DL. So I started getting put on the Phantom DL. They weren't going to release me, which to my credit, I'd never been released of any major league organization or any organization except for the damn Lotte Giants who just cut me. But never been released. So I thought if I can't provide on the field, I'm a good teammate, helping people out. Miles Michaelis was on the team. Chirinos was on the team. We had a lot of good guys. One of the starters, Martin Perez, he's with the Rangers right now. He's on the team.
Yeah.
Really good team. So that was a lot of fun. And they never released me, but I'm reading the writing on the wall. This isn't going well. I'm getting older here. It's 2015. So start making some phone calls. Trying to hammer Facebook for trying to get to Taiwan. Korea kind of already burned that bridge because they kind of hold your contract still. You can't quite go to other teams. So reached out to Taiwan. One of our translators with Team Canada, Alan Lin, knew a coach in Taiwan. So I hit him up. Hey, can you get me on a team over there? Boom, got me on a team over there. We ended up winning the championship. My first year at the Ida Rhinos. They got bought out by the Fubon Guardians. Went back my next year. Just had an amazing time out there. Brought my family. The kids weren't in school yet, so traveled around the whole country, and it's beautiful. Highly recommend it. People don't think Taiwan is a travel place, but I mean, it was amazing.
Now, I've heard kind of stories about it, which may be like nightmare scenarios. Did you have anything over there that were kind of red flags, or was everything kind of roses for you?
Yeah, totally roses. Obviously, I know what you're talking about. With back in the day, they had like the gambling scandal, but that was, I think, 10 years earlier, and they had a few more teams. So the one interesting thing about Taiwan is they had 4 teams, because I think they wanted to keep it under control. They had 4 teams, so I mean, we played the same teams a lot. And by the way, that's why they bring imports in that are pitchers, mostly starting pitchers, to combat the hitting, because they start, as you know, Willow and Rene, the hitter gets the advantage. You see the pitcher more times. You know what I mean? So they're not bringing in many hitters. They're bringing in good quality pitchers that usually have upper levels. Like, they're looking for the 4A player, right? Can't quite stick in the big leagues, but better than most AAA. So that's what they're kind of looking for. And it was hard, man. I mean, strike zone was big. Ball launched. They had balls that would fly out of the air. These little 150-pound second basemen just flipping it oppo on you, and you're looking back going, "Holy crow! No wonder we're here. Like, this is nuts." So,
Now, are the fields smaller?
no,
Just the players.
just really powerful, really
Have you not
powerful
played there,
players.
Begg?
Yeah,
You've been in Taiwan, right?
No, I'd never played there. '07, I was actually injured when you guys had the qualifier. I was on the IL at the time. I was supposed to go there, and I missed the qualifier that year and the World Cup. And I got back healthy enough to make the '08 Olympics. And so, I missed paths with Rich there.
Man, they are passionate about baseball there, though. They have a good crowd, especially for the Premier 12.
yeah. So they would sell out the stadiums for Chinese Taipei, and it'd be pretty crickets for Canada versus Cuba. But anytime Chinese Taipei, it was sold out, and they had songs just like during the regular season for the CPBL, Chinese Professional Baseball League. They would have like hit a home run. They would sing the song for the player, and each player would have a song. Then they'd say like "Sensen Ta," which is strike them out, and they'd sing all these songs the whole time. And like, you're pitching it, it's like usually you're hearing popcorn, kids crying, things like that. Now you got like do 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 do. I mean, they got a band playing for the hitter, and you're just like, here we go.
It's like each guy's got a walkout song, but the fans are singing.
Fans are singing it the entire at bat.
It's wild. It's so good. There's like 35,000 people just going boop, 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 boop. Yeah, just noise.
So, Sony, you played in both Venezuela for a short period of time and over in Taiwan. Now, I played in Venezuela, and some of those games were crazy with fans. Any comparison there? Or are they totally different?
Totally different.
Feel safer in Taiwan, eh?
Safer in Taiwan. But the passion's there, and that's the fun part, like you guys said, about international baseball. It's played all over the world. It's not soccer, but like it's pretty, Australia plays it, you got it all over Europe here and there. Obviously North America, all through Latin America, South America. I've been to half of South America playing ball, and they're not the greatest, but they have it. They're competing. They're trying, They're there to learn from you. They want to trade you stuff. Like, you're kind of idolized in some of these other countries, and then you go to Japan, and you're like, okay, we're in Okinawa now getting ready for the Premier 12, and we're playing the All-Star team from the MPB, and you're like, yeah, they call this guy the Derek Jeter of Japan. You're like, oh, great. He's got, Sakamoto or whatever. I mean, all these guys, the guy in the Cubs, Suzuki, you got Scott Matheson on our team. He played over there for 5 years and was a god, right? So he's just telling us, this guy's a god, this guy's a god. Like, this guy can't walk anywhere. This guy has security everywhere he goes. And we're playing, we call ourselves the Sofa Squad. You know what I mean? Like, we're half of us are old and retired, and we're coming out here competing against these. And, we actually did pretty good.
Yeah, we compete. It's not like we
don't get pummeled. Like, there's a reason why we kept coming back, and it wasn't because we're here to party. We're not there to party. We're there to represent Canada and get after it after we win.
Yeah, we party after.
But we don't party before to not win. You only party when you win.
I think it's fair to kind of say that, as from players from North America anyway, we don't recognize how good the talent is over in Korea and Japan and everything, right? we just see them as no-namers, but really they are, I think just as talented as their American counterparts.
Man, they put in the work. I coach high school baseball, right? I've had some international students, and they just say like the hours that they put on the field is so much more than the hours that we put on the field. So for them, population and all that stuff, but like they just work, and it is so fundamental. Everybody's got good at bats. Everybody knows how to bunt. Everybody knows how to play the game hard, play the game correctly, pitch. It's just unbelievable how it is over there. And like being able to play international baseball, like Cuba plays baseball different than Korea and Japan and Venezuela. They all have their styles, like, right? But we all play the same game, but we have our different styles. So it's fun to be a part of.
Very true. You mentioned Europe, Richie, and in 2018, I believe you ended up over in Italy.
The retirement tour.
Hey, you know what? I was always kind of jealous of that retirement tour because it's one of those things like, if you can, like for whatever, where you are in your life or financially and all the rest of it and your arms to your health and everything, if you can, why the hell would you not do it? Because that is an experience. Talk about Italy a little bit.
I mean, I'd never been before. And I think in 2009, Team Canada went over there and played in a...
Yes, we did.
You were there, right?
Tigers last time.
Right. So, you guys did it. I heard all the stories. I was in Toronto at the time, so I never did any of the European tours. But obviously, people you hear from friends and family go to Italy for 10 days, 2 weeks, and it's the best place I've ever been. I'm definitely going back. It's so amazing. The food, the wine, the beautiful country. I'm like, how about getting 6 months there, 6.5 months there, and all I got to do is pitch on Friday once a week? Like everywhere we went, there's 7 teams. 4 of them are on the water and 4 are inland. But everywhere we went, I would pitch on Friday. I'd have to watch the game on Saturday. Then we wouldn't have a practice till like a Wednesday or a Thursday. Wednesday usually. So we would just stay up in the area wherever we were and hit all the hot spots around that area. Then another visiting team, we'd hit all the hot spots around that area. And then my team was an hour south of Rome. So Rome is not something you can do in a couple times. You got to go back a few times and hit different areas. And, So, we saw 45 cities in 6 months. And I had twins that were 5 and a 3-year-old. And we hoofed them all over that country and saw everything. And we got to Venice, and they're like, okay, can we leave now? We saw it. We're like, no, we're not going anywhere. Here's your gelato. Yeah. And we're going to walk around here.
Here's a pizza after.
But
pay them off with gelato and pizza. I like it.
They love it. They're super passionate. They're not as talented, but they're giving it them all. There's some I played in America. I played low A, and they're like gods over there, and that's fine and dandy. They made it out of Italy to America, got drafted or signed with a major league team, and went back, and that's how they're going to build it. But the team I played for, Nettuno, has the only stadium. It's where you played, and Rene, obviously. But that's where the Americans landed and freed Italy from the Germans. So when they landed, they taught them baseball on the beaches. So they kind of have this little ritual there, and that's why they built the stadium, and they call it the City of Baseball. So I was just fortunate. I had no idea about this when I signed there. I just wanted to play for a city that was on the water, not inland. That ended up being the one. But it was really cool. Super great experience. The food's amazing. It's super healthy. Ate pasta every day. Didn't put a pound on, just really, really fun. Beautiful up and down the whole country. And we want to go back.
Now, when you went there, did they provide you with accommodations and vehicle and things like that? Because I've heard stories of that nature.
Yeah, that was mandatory. I had a family of 5 coming. I needed my own place, which was fine. And they did that, furnished, no problem. And then they gave us a vehicle that was fully, wasn't borrowing it. It was ours the entire time I was there. If I didn't want to go on the bus and we wanted to drive up, so we'd have a vehicle to explore that area. Because there are bullet trains all through, so it's no problem to get back if you didn't want to do it. But when you're lugging 3 kids in a double stroller and suitcases, a car is sometimes a little bit better than a bullet train.
You stuffed them all in a smart car, did you, or what?
No, it was a Volkswagen Golf, but yeah, you're right. There's so many smart cars over there. It's
So
tiny,
many smart cars.
and the roads are horrible, man. I mean, it's like graffiti in the roads. We're driving these back.
Graffiti's wild.
I
right?
mean, it's crazy.
Everywhere. That's honestly the graffiti when we went Beggar. Like that's what stood out to me on the bus trips. It's like how much graffiti is all over the highways or all over the alleys and all that stuff. I couldn't believe it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, unbelievable countryside though, and that's quite the experience. Now, from Italy, you ended up in another, I'd call it a nice tourist location, I believe, in Australia.
Yeah, we were
How was
road
that?
warriors. Yeah, so a big thing is my dad's from New Zealand, and Baseball New Zealand has been trying to get a team together. They're trying to qualify in Olympic qualifiers and WBC qualifier tournaments, and they always kept calling, "Hey, do you want to come play? We need somebody to pitch against Australia. We need to move on to the next round. Can you come play for us?" And I wanted to always end my career playing for my dad's country, kind of thing. But the problem was we were doing a lot of great things with Canada, and if I go play for New Zealand, I have to take a year off from playing for Canada. So wasn't willing to do that because at the end of the day, I'm trying to get back to the Olympics because I missed the opportunity in 2008. So that's why I kept hanging on. And quick little side note. So Rio de Janeiro, Brazil didn't have baseball in the Olympics, and then London didn't have baseball in the Olympics from the Beijing ones in 2008. So I had to hold on till Tokyo, which was 2020, which is why I played so long. But I played for the Auckland Tuatara, which was the first professional baseball team coming out of New Zealand, and they played in the ABL. And we just spent the first half. They had a few home games there. And then the second half is when I went and joined them, and then we played all games in Australia, traveling around, living in hotels. Family didn't come on that one.
How long was that trip?
So that was for a month and a half, and mainly that was to check the box of playing for Auckland, but also it was to prep for a Pan Am Games. So we ended up winning the gold in that Pan Am Games in Lima. No, Lima we got silver. That was in Toronto, excuse me.
We got 15, we had gold.
15 gold.
19, we had silver.
19 we had silver.
19?
Yeah. I haven't missed a Pan Am Games in 15 years, big man. No, I'm just joking. We just missed it this year.
I'm so locked
We won't
in.
go there. But yeah, so there was a reason behind it. That was my only winter ball. It was like January, end of December, after Christmas I'd go January, and then prep for the Premier or Pan Am Games, sorry.
If you had to pick, it sounds like you really liked your time in Italy. Would you take that one over New Zealand as far as, I'm not talking about baseball-wise, but just the experience of being in the country, traveling, sightseeing, all of it?
Yeah, so I never spent time in New Zealand. I did when I was a kid, but we were, like I said, in Australia a whole bunch. And Team Canada, fortunately enough, for some of these Olympic qualifiers in Taiwan that we went to back in the day, we spent a couple weeks or a week, 10 days in Australia, so I kind of saw a bunch of that. And Italy being so fresh and new to me, I'm not a huge history buff, but it's pretty hard to not. I'm just buff, I know, Rene. But it's kind of hard to not go see
time out. Every trip we go on, this guy is scheduling where we're gonna go see things. It's like, hey, we got a game at 7 tonight. Okay, at 10 o'clock we're gonna be on some sort of taxi to go see this, and that, to go see wherever we're at.
I mean,
you are definitely for sure.
I've seen his Instagram account. I mean, there are pictures nonstop. It's like I'm on the Richie tour with him. It's fantastic. It's great.
My wife,
I feel like I'm part of the family.
I'm not really good at taking pictures. She's like, hey, can you make sure you hang out with Scott this trip? So I know he likes to take pictures. He'll get pictures.
Richie's Instagram has been real good since being up north. I'll say that.
Yeah, I mean,
I've been loving it.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I mean,
I feel like
I love it.
been with you the last week or so.
I know. I was just over on the island. I know. It was great. Batter's box is good
cold
stuff.
plunges
There we
and
go.
everything, right?
Yeah,
a lot of cold plunges.
Yeah, my brother's big into it, so that's fun. But yeah, Italy for sure. To answer your question, Beggar, Italy for sure. There's plenty more things I'd like to go back. I love Taiwan. I love Australia, but the food in Italy is second to none, period. I mean, I'd go back strictly for the food.
I'm with you. I could
me
put on
too.
a few pounds.
No, but the thing is you don't, because the quality of the food's so much better.
Oh,
that's
so
the
good.
whole thing. You
That's
eat
my
healthier
favorite
food.
trip. Of all my trips to Italy was like I didn't
Yeah,
know.
Italy was a pretty good one. I can't disagree with you. That
Yeah,
that was
man, like,
crazy.
we
But
were
that's a
eating
whole
so
different
well.
story.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a whole different podcast, Tosoni. We'll tell that on another one.
Okay.
2019, you also traveled, maybe not quite as tropical as New Zealand or Italy, but you ended up in lovely Quebec City. How was that?
I've heard a lot about it. Jordan Leonardton, a bunch of these other guys that had been there and done things there before. Once again, just trying to hold on to try to be an Olympian. Like you said, life's short. If you can go do these things in Italy and give yourself an opportunity to check a box that not many people get to check. Yeah, my wife and I talked. The kids weren't in school yet, so it was kind of like we can still push this. It's not like I'm just gone all the time, and it's a
I feel like your
mutual
kids are like
decision.
16 years old
Yeah,
and
that's-
still haven't gone to school.
Yeah, they're homeschooled. Yeah, no.
Speak Mandarin, dude.
Yeah.
Like his kids go to Mandarin classes in Arizona.
That's
Like,
amazing.
it's unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah,
great.
so we
That's
kind of kept
amazing.
that ball going. Once we lived in Taiwan for a couple of years, we just tricked him and put him in Italy for a year and then hucked him in Mandarin school in Asia. in Arizona.
That's the
Like,
best.
how do you find an Mandarin?
That's terrific.
Mandarin
Yeah, I
school in
mean,
Arizona?
Google, just do a little research, Rene.
Great.
I
I love your kids. They're great.
They've got a southern accent, but
I know, right?
Mandarin.
But no, Quebec was great. Scalabrini over there, he's there to win. That was like my last kind of run at playing professional ball. And, ended up getting pitcher of the year that year. So it was kind of like nice to finish on a high note. And there's some good players on that team, young guys that throw hard. So just knowing that I played against Phil and Rutsky in Ottawa, whatever they're called,
Warriors?
No,
Or Americans?
the Ottawa
Not the Americans.
Capitals or
All right, Capitals.
Canadians or something. I forget what they were called. But anyway, it was great, man. Like, we're just trying to prep to be an Olympian. And there was Olympic qualifiers coming. We didn't end up doing it because USA still had to qualify. And they are able to pick from everybody that's about to be in the big leagues. Like Duran and the first baseman, Cassis for the Red Sox. They were both on there. Cassis was my last strikeout with Team Canada. And it was fun to go out there at 40 years old and face these guys that are about to be in the big leagues and actually get an out and do well. The problem is my arm didn't bounce back and I wasn't able to even pitch in the Olympic qualifier to help them advance because my arm was just so taxed, and it was a sign. But, we gave it a run. We tried, and it was a lot of fun. But, yeah, Quebec was a good time. It was. I think every one of my starts there rained a little bit. I never had a sunny start, but overall, it was fun to be in Quebec. I'd never been.
Oddly enough, in 2008, when I was released from the Giants, I had about a month before the '08 Olympics in China. And I also went to Quebec to hang on for that Olympic experience, right? And I had about I think it was 5 starts, maybe 4 starts. And they agreed to take me on just to let me keep throwing and keep the innings and everything. And so, yeah, I was there for not quite as long as you, I don't think, but just a month. But they were really helpful in supporting what we were trying to do in, Baseball Canada and everything. So pretty cool place. Now you didn't finish your career in Quebec though, I don't think. You also had one more stop, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, where's that?
Long Island?
Well, that was at the end, yeah. So, when you're eliminated in your league, other leagues come calling, and, I'd had a good year, so they called and went over there and got pummeled. And, yeah, we're not sugarcoating that one. Went over there and, I felt like I was locating pretty much the same as I was doing all year. It's just the quality of hitters a little bit different in the Atlantic League, and, we're 40 years old out there, just trying to hold on for the Olympics, not really trying to win a Atlantic League title, which they ended up doing. But I left early. I was like, I'm not contributing here. I want you guys to get somebody in here that can, help you advance. I don't want to just be like a cleanup guy, mop-up guy. Appreciate the opportunity, but we're just going to pack up our stuff and head out of here. And that's the first time I ever, packed up a left,
I was going to say, still didn't get released, though.
Still
right?
didn't get
Yeah.
released, It
Still
wasn't like...
didn't-
The
Just
self-release,
walk
The
yeah.
wall was coming in hot there, so we ended up shutting that down real quick.
They actually called him into the office to release him, but before they could open his mouth, he's
Yeah.
like, I quit.
I quit. Panic button.
No, that was funny. Yeah.
That's all right.
Well,
I
we've
like
talked
Long
a
Island,
lot
too.
about... You played there too, Rene?
I played
Yeah.
against Long Island. I like it. I played for Sugar Land, right, in the Atlantic League. So
Yes.
I played against Long Island in the in the playoffs in 2016. It's a great place. The fans are great. I like it.
I know the Atlantic League is generally considered like the quote unquote best independent league, right? And you're going to get former big league guys. You're going to get some really good, former AAA guys making it back, guys who still get signed and all the rest of it. So I know it is a well-respected league. We've talked a lot about Team Canada between, even all four of us have all played for our country. How many times, Richie, do you know, have you played for Canada?
Were you on the bus that last time?
I think we were
Axford did it.
This. Oh, with Axford?
Yeah. So my last tournament, Axford went around the whole bus at the end of the tournament, and then ended on me because it knew it was my last one, and goes like, I think it was 16 tournaments, 16, I believe. But do you know exactly?
For you, I do not.
Okay, I don't know if there's a stat you're going to pull out. Willow, what about your stats?
No.
You got a secret stat?
Well, I was expecting Beggar to have it. You can't ask that.
I do not have the stat.
Like,
I think it's 16.
Look,
it's 16.
My research started and stopped with Wikipedia, so they don't have the number of Team Canada visits. I'm sure I could call, Adam Morissette or Hamilton and get that number.
And I should remember you're asking the guy who did it, but they all blend together, and that's the thing.
Does.
So 16, I believe. I think it's the longest tenured baseball senior men's team player to date.
Yeah, which is why I asked, because I know at one point I was up there. I believe I maybe was tied, but I'm not 6. I think now I kind of forget. I think I was 9. But
not even double digits, man. Come on.
Not even double digits. I mean, I had to get on with the coaching staff. No, I actually never played for the junior team, so
me neither.
Yeah, we weren't good until we were 29, Richie. So
yeah, we were skipped
like
over
these
them.
2 young guys with us there.
Yeah, we had a little turmoil early on. We had to,
Rene, you've got a bunch. Do you know how many times you've played?
I think we did this in. We tried to count it out in Seoul. I think when I was in Seoul, what year was that? 2000.
I mean, like you said, it blends together.
I think
it all blends in.
19. I think I have about 11 or 12. That's including the junior team. I was 2 years with the junior team.
And Willow's got your 2 years with the junior team, right?
Yeah, big 2.
It's all good, man. It's funny because we had a little connection there. Rich, you said your last out was Tristan Casas, and Casas was in Thunder Bay with Willow playing against us in the World Championship. And he was a guy who actually stood out to me, and I thought this guy is the best hitter, I think, here. He was unbelievable. So a little connection there from the generations, I think. Very cool. Are you still involved in baseball, though, Richie, or no?
So I coach my daughters down in Arizona. There's a little baseball league that ex-Blue Jay, his wife, his name's Jeremy Accardo. So Carly Accardo started,
he's a teammate of mine.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, great. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so his wife, Carly.
I got a great story about Accardo. I'll tell you later.
I'd love to hear it. Yeah. But no, she started a Peaches baseball league, kind of like League of Their Own, the Rockford Peaches, and just kind of built it up. Now I think there's about 16 teams all over certain different age groups, and we have a little 4-team, they call it the PBA, Peaches Baseball Academy, and 4 teams, kind of like Taiwan, They all name the teams, I think it's like the Chicks, the Bells, all the female leagues from back in the day, the team names.
Right.
And we played each other, and I'm one of the coaches on that, and we have a coach and an assistant coach, and it's unique because it's anywhere from 8 to 12-year-olds, so you kind of have to flip the lineup and flip the infield halfway through when the older kids get up, and you kind of stack each lineup so that it's unique, but the girls are having fun. They're playing against girls. They're not playing against boys and getting hucked in right field. They're actually learning the game. We're moving them around all the positions. It's developing them before they go to softball. Some might want to go play baseball, but the majority will go to softball. They want to keep playing. And the longer you play baseball, the better you're going to be at softball when you go in there. So it's been a lot of fun.
Well, that's fantastic.
And then Greg wants me to go help with the team too. So I'm just trying to figure out a time I could take 2 weeks off and just head to whatever. No, not the women's team. No, just the national team.
You're looking
that's
at
already
the women's
taken,
team,
Ray. It's already
coach
taken
right there, yeah.
Chris Begg.
That's it. Richie and I have a lot in common through our careers, apparently, more than we realize. Very cool. I think, okay, so let's wrap up this segment here. Is there any message that you consistently give to young players, through your experiences, maybe in your world travels, about baseball or anything along those lines?
Kind of what I said before is you gotta make your own path. Things are going to happen, a lot of negative in this game, but you got to keep moving forward. I never had anything given to me. I had to always climb and push. You're leaving to go there. Okay, fine. I'm going to lose some credits with college and step back, but I'm going to go there because that's going to give me the opportunity to go to D1. I'm keep trying to climb the ladder to see where I peak. I don't know where I'm going to peak. I ended up peaking in the big leagues. A lot of people peak in, NAIA, and that's great. You made it to college. You got to find out where your path is, but you got to get pushed outside your comfort zone if you really want to play the game. You got to work on the things you're not good at in the off season, so when you come back, you stand out. There's things you have to do. You have to love practicing. You have to enjoy going to the field every day and not look at it as work, because you're going to go every single day. If you end up getting to where you want to get to, you're going to go every single day, and you got to love going there. You don't have to love every single one of the players. I enjoyed talking to all the different people. That's what helps me moving forward in life, is you can meet people that are first round bonus babies, or a guy that doesn't speak a lick of English and never had a real glove in his hand. So it's all different spectrum, or a cowboy from Texas, from West Texas. So it's a melting pot. And then you got a Canadian. These guys have never even seen a Canadian before, right? You guys all know. So it's really interesting, but if you love it and you want it, you got to go get it. Coaches are going to tell you things, and you might not agree with it, but you go, yep, okay, I'm going to give that a shot and take a little bit of it. Take a little bit from this, take a little bit from that, and make it your own. It's your career, and be respectful along the way, but at the end of the day, that catcher is putting down a suggestion for you. It's your career when you throw that ball. You make sure you got conviction behind it, even if it's the wrong pitch, make sure you believe in it. So you guys got to take control of your career and do it respectfully, but move forward professionally as well.
Great message, man. And, it's funny. I don't think I've ever heard the entire Scott Richmond Netflix story that we just heard here. And I love it, man.
Yeah, when's the docuseries coming up?
I've heard it
we'll work
5
on that.
times, so I'm glad I get to hear it again.
I mean, every time I'm kind of around guys that have been with me on certain things, they're always like, you need to write this down. You need to write this down. You need to remember, because like we said, it melts in a lot of things. What year is that? I don't know, man. I got to look it up. But some people have a memory like that. I just don't. But I'd love to write it down, because later on I'm going to want to look back and talk about the girls. Maybe take a picture from each year. So, I got pictures, guys. So maybe put that in an album or whatever, and just kind of have that little keepsake, right? So I'm going to work on that and see if we can get that done.
Well, it's funny. We didn't even talk about the WBC experiences, but we'll save those for another date. Maybe when we talk about fight night with Tosoni as well.
Yeah, that's great. It's been awesome talking to you guys. I appreciate it. I'm not a guy that likes to talk about myself a lot, so these are the only kind of occasions I don't say a word. But these are the occasions that's good. Giving back to the Canadian fan base. Mm-hmm. We're always behind the 8 ball up here. You go down to the States, all of a sudden you get smacked in the face with a ton of talent that you're not used to seeing, maybe at that level, and you got to believe that you can do it and not think that you can't. Willow, you went down to California. Yeah. They can play a little ball in California, right? So you got to come down and go, I belong here. Move over. It's time for me to come in and show you what we can do up north. And every coach I've ever talked to, I got coaches that coach now, and go, if you know any Canadians, send them to me, because I love the work ethic. I love the attitude. I know they're polite. I know they're going to, get after it and be good clubhouse guys. And, they just love us. They love the way we carry ourselves.
All it takes is one. Yeah, all it takes is one, and then they're hooked.
Yep.
I love it. But the podcast is not over, Richie. We have one more segment here.
Let's keep the last segment so Richie comes on again.
You want to go there?
I think we're hour 15 in. I think it was a good, finish on a high note.
We can throw the teaser out there, though. All I know is that I had it nicknamed on a Willow. Willow came up with this, but I decided to name it Probing the Players. But that's for next podcast.
Probing the players?
Okay. You got it, buddy.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Well, nailed it. Well,
They got to come back now. They got to come back.
Well, they're going to come back, and we're definitely going to have Tosoni on, tell a little more of his story. But
next Monday, he's already confirmed.
Next Monday, we have confirmed, so we will we'll have him back again. So, Richie, appreciate you talking to us, man. It's been fun. Tosoni, man, I've missed you. We're going to see you again and more often, not just next week, but more often, totally.
Yeah.
And Will, thanks for joining us. As always, you're my stalwart there. So, if you're listening to this and you're liking it, feel free to give the podcast a like, subscribe, leave a comment, and let us read it. We'd love to connect with you. So for this week, until next week, that's Oppotaco out.